Hey everyone, this is Ben with the Tiger's Den, and you'll notice that while I usually have Magic Arena up right now, I just have a blank screen at the moment. And that is because we're not doing Arena tonight. We are going to... Actually, let's bring up a bigger... Oh, that's not what we want. Why is this on my second screen? I have no idea, but, you know, I guess that'll do for now. We're doing a... Let's cover that stuff up. I don't know what they are, but... So, let's talk for a second about Magic the Gathering, and Magic the Gathering Arena in particular. I've been streaming Arena for a couple months now since we started this channel, and doing it pretty regularly. I'm really enjoying it. However, I cannot say that I'm enjoying streaming Magic right now, because I'm not enjoying playing Magic on Arena at all at the moment, because we pretty much have Standard and then Brawl, and both of those formats are basically Oko formats at the moment. And I'm not going to go into it in too much depth here because I've covered this a lot in previous videos, but I can't say that I didn't see this coming, that when Field was banned and after Oko was printed, the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen to the Standard format, and that has come to pass, and it has made Standard a real mess. And it's just not fun to play because almost every match is versus Oko, and if you want to win games, you are pretty much playing Oko decks, or the decks that beat the Oko decks and lose to literally, or that beat a particular Oko deck and lose to like literally everything else. So for the moment, I'm going to be dialing back the Arena content. Maybe I'll still do once a week instead of twice a week. But yeah, for now, that is the plan. We're going to be playing some other games in the meantime while we wait for the ban list to get everything together and, you know, not... you know, make a less bad format. I will recommend for anyone that is interested. Let's see if we can bring it up here. Let's see. I believe it was on TCG Player. Brian Brunduin did put up a, here we go, Why Standard Sucks and How to Prevent It. So this is a great article, in my opinion, where BBD pretty much breaks down exactly what I think is wrong with the format. And surprise, it has mostly to do with green, and particularly Oko and Nissa and the 1-mana accelerants. And breaks it down in pretty good detail here and goes in. It's not just like a trash piece, right? He's not just trashing the format. So anyway, this is a really good read if you want to check that out. But that's why we're not doing Magic today. And instead, we are doing some Tales of Maj Eyal, aka ToME, or ToME 4. This game has a lot of names. It's kind of complicated about why, how it ended up with them, but yeah, this is a roguelike. It is an old roguelike. It has a long pedigree, although ToME 4 itself is newer. But it goes all the way back to a game called I think the original one was Angbrand, and then Pernbrand was an offshoot of that. I could be misremembering this, but it has a very old pedigree, and it's kind of like, you know, there was a resource fork of a resource fork of a resource fork, and eventually we ended up with Tales of Middle-earth, and then there was a cease and desist from the Tolkien estate or something like that, and so then it became Tales of Maj Eyal, and so this game, Tales of Maj Eyal / ToME 4 is what we've got now. So this is a pretty traditional roguelike game. We're going to fire it up here, and I'll go back into my main scene. It's a pretty traditional roguelike. And for those of you who maybe haven't played many roguelikes or are more familiar with roguelikes along the lines of oh god, what would some good examples be? But you know, a lot of modern roguelikes, Binding of Isaac, things like that, are more removed from this format of game, where it is a sort of turn-based, but not really. You know, single player walking around a map, like you can see in the background here, like, you know, walking slowly. This is really sped up, but on a turn-based basis with, you know, enemies everywhere that can one-shot you and resource management and things like that. So this is hailing from that old school of... Oh, I should make sure we're streaming, by the way, just because I've been having problems with that. So it's in that old style of you know, the traditional hardcore roguelikes. Let's see. This channel is the Tiger's Den. There we are. All right. Sorry for the break here. Okay, we are live. Good. Okay, so, but one of the things that turns a lot of people off of these old roguelikes isn't necessarily their difficulty, it's their tedium, and how hard it is to manage your inventory and, like, manage your hunger and things like that. And ToME goes out of its way and is incredibly successful at getting rid or simplifying, or not dumbing down, but just getting rid of the tedium of those things. So instead of having potions to manage, it has things like inscriptions, and you don't have to manage your inventory, then you have to manage the cooldowns. And it has a lot of quality of life features, like an auto-explore, which can get you killed, but can also make, retreading a place you've been through and just need to find the next thing you haven't explored yet, can make that a lot easier. So it's really fun. I love roguelikes. It's one of my favorite genres of all time since I was a little kid playing Dungeons of Doom with my dad on our Apple II or whatever it was at the time. So, one thing with this game is that there's a lot of unlockable content, and a lot of people are spoiler averse as to that content. So I'm going to do a character creation here, but if you don't want to see the character creation portion, either just pause, not pause, but like, you can step away, make a sandwich, whatever. We'll be back in a few minutes. Or if you're watching the VOD afterwards, just skip a few minutes ahead, and we'll be done with that. So we're going to start up a new game here. There are two scenarios to this game if you have or two main scenarios to the game if you have all the expansion content, which I do. The game itself, I believe, is free. The expansions are very cheap. There are some paid quality of life features and things like that you can get, but this game is made entirely by one person, I believe, who goes by the name Dark God, and he does this. It's basically a huge passion project, and he does make some money off of it, but it's largely what he does because he just loves this project so much. And so yeah, so we've got, as you can see here, tons of races, tons of classes. I'm not going to go into all of them in detail because, again, spoiler stuff, and also it would take way too long. But every one of these, well, not all of them, but lots of them have multiple things under each one. I think all of the classes except for Adventurer, which is a build-your-own class, so there's only Adventurer. But so I'm not going to go into all these, but I think what I'm going to do for now is I want to do a class that's really straightforward, but also one that I haven't played before. And I've never played the Berserker, and this is a starting class, so it's one that there's no, spoiler stuff locked behind it. And I'm going to do the Thalore, which is like the wood elf type, because they're just a pretty good all-rounder. You can never really go wrong with Thalore. So what does that do? Thalore gives us a couple of abilities, and it gives us some starting life, experience penalty. You used to have an experience penalty. That's gone now. That's new since I played this last. It's been quite a while. So plus strength, dexterity, and constitution. Those all kind of do what you would expect. Plus willpower, that's your resource regeneration. As berserkers are going to be using stamina because we're a warrior. One thing that's cool with this game is that a lot of the classes, their resource isn't just like a bar that fills up and depletes. A lot of them, as you gain or lose resource, your abilities start behaving differently. And some of them actually do really cool things, like there are some that cause like temporal paradoxes, and paradoxes become more and more strong as your paradox level increases. That's probably my favorite class in the game. We also get a talent here, so that's cool. And then Berserker, we don't really say much about it here, but we'll see once we get into the game what that looks like, what our abilities look like, and how we're differentiated from other classes. So I'm going to just right-click here for a random name because I don't want to, sit here hemming and hawing over what to name my character. And I'm actually I've been playing mostly at Nightmare. I'm going to dial it back to normal with roguelike permadeath. So I don't know how popular this is going to be. Let me know in the comments if you don't want to see roguelike permadeath here because, maybe you want to see a character go through a lot of the game. So that's one of the things that people like about this game, if they're not super into the whole roguelike, super punishing thing, is there's adventure mode where you have multiple lives and there's a plot reason for it. And then exploration where you have infinite lives. But I've never played on anything but roguelike because for me that's a big part of the roguelike experience is the difficult games where if you make a mistake, you are just dead and your character is done. There are some ways of getting multiple lives here, but we're probably not going to find any of them. So anyway, we're just going to roll up the Berserker, see how it goes. I did look at kind of a decent way to start this class out, so I'm not going in totally blind, because I'd be reading all the abilities and things like that. So anyway, let's take okay, let's change that name a little bit. Just, how about I-Ring? Yeah, I-Ring, that sounds good. I'm not gonna say it has a good ring to it. I just said it. Anyway, yeah, so let's go. Let's hit play. As you can see, this is our starting screen. This is where we have our abilities, and these are what define our class. So we have all these different technique trees that we can invest into. Then we have these ones here, which we have not opened yet, but which we can open by spending points into them. So we can spend points to increase the power of these abilities. we unlock them as we go through the game. So this one takes level 4, this one takes level 8, so on and so forth, level 12. And the ones down here will unlock category points to unlock these categories later if we want to invest into them. But for right now, this is what we got here. So these are our class points we put into these things, and then on this side we have generic abilities, which are things that are shared between a lot of classes. That has our racial ability tree as we run up here, and then also things like our combat training, our physical conditioning, our cunning, stuff like that. So we start out with 3 stat points that we can put between our base stats here. We want mostly strength and constitution, because that is what most of our abilities key off of. You'll see this one, it takes strength 20, strength 28, strength 36. This one also takes strength and strength. So all of our abilities here take strength. Some of these take constitution, like the thick skin. But so we're gonna, let's just like, I don't know, let's put 2 and 1. So our strength is going to give us extra physical power, which makes our abilities more likely to status our enemies and to deal more damage. It also increases our physical saves and our encumbrance, which is our carrying capacity. And this one's going to give us extra life, extra physical save, which is our chance to withstand physical statuses, and a little bit of healing mod, which means that we'll heal more from our healing abilities. So then here, so these are the only 4 that we can invest in right now, because we have to hit level 4 before we can invest in these. So Stunning Blow is just our baseline, hammer someone, spend a little bit of stamina, and we will get, we will put a status on them. When we stun them, they move more slowly, and their abilities recharge more slowly. They used to stop recharging altogether, but that was changed in the patch a day or 2 ago. War Cry, so this confuses our enemies in a cone. That's quite good. Rush, just like it sounds, we rush up to the enemy. Costs us a bunch of stamina, but it's quite good. And then Quick Recovery allows us to regenerate stamina faster. Of these, I feel like Stunning Blow is probably the best place to start, because as we get more points into this, the stun duration will get longer and longer, to the point where the stun duration will actually eclipse the cooldown. So right now, 8-second cooldown, lasts for 4 seconds, and the tooltips in this game are great. There are some exceptions to this, but almost always you will see what it will upgrade to by putting another point into it. So like right now we can see that we're at 60, and then we'll get 60 and 3 are our numbers, and then we click this and we go up to 64 and 4, and we can see, this is one thing I don't like, is I have to mouse around like this to mouse over the tooltips. But so, takes us 1 turn, costs us 9 stamina, which is dirt cheap, and puts on some hurt, and stuns our opponent, so they can't do as much. And okay, so we need to wait another level to get another point into this, so we can either take a point, put another point in War Shout. I think I like taking Rush so that we can close the distance quickly, and this also lets us reposition out of combat if we have an enemy we can charge to, so that can also be good. And then we have 1 generic point, so we can put a point into our Shalore, or Thalore talent. Shalore is High Elf, Thalore is Wood Elf. So this lets us, it's a cooldown that lets us regenerate and increases our healing mod, and our willpower increases the effect. And this one lets us recover from poison disease, wounds, and our life regeneration increases when we get low on health. So I do like saving up to get thick skin pretty quickly, but this takes 23 constitution, we only have 15. Combat accuracy, we have to hit level 4 before we can take the next point. And weapon mastery, we have to get up to 24 strength. So these are all like really, really good abilities, but we don't have the thresholds yet. So we're going to hold off on those, and I think I'm going to put the point into here. We're not going to run into many poisons, disease, and wounds at this point in the game, and they often aren't super powerful, but when they are powerful, they can really wreck you. And the regeneration, that should help us a little bit in combat when we're taking a beating. Just have this trigger. It should tell us what it's a 15-second or a 15-turn cooldown. So it won't happen every time we hit 50% health, but hopefully that won't happen too often anyways. So, anyways, that's going to be our build for now, and you can unspec when you're in towns. You can take out like the last 3 or 4 points you put into a thing. So if you decide you don't like something, you can pull out the points as long as you haven't gone too far down the tree. So, anyway, here we go. Welcome to Tales of Maj Eyal. Welcome, A-Ring. You are of the Thaloran, the elven race closest to nature. Your people have lived for thousands of years in their forest, rarely taking part in the events of the outside world. Yet when their home is threatened, the Thaloran elves can prove to be fearsome combatants. You lived a peaceful life deep in the forest for many years, but lately you have grown restless and have decided to step into the world. You have decided to venture into an old and wild place, looking for ancient treasures and glory. You have come to the western side of the Thaloran forest to the lair of Norgos. Norgos was a steadfast ally of the Thaloran, protecting the western border, but lately he has grown corrupt, even attacking the Thaloran. To the east of Shatur, the Thaloran capital, lies a dark part of the woods. Ever since the Spellblaze, this area has been corrupted. The wildlife there has been transformed. After days of travel, you have found Norgos' lair and entered it. What will you find there? So, as you can see from this, there's a little bit of world building going on already. So we have like the Thaloran and their, you know, traditional nature-y stuff. But then we've got stuff here like, where did it go? Oh yeah, so the east of Shatur, the Thaloran capital, a place that has been corrupted by the Spellblaze. And if that isn't just like the most kind of ominous thing, like, oh yeah, we're just going to drop that in there. So I love the world building in this game. It's really cool. There we go. I think I put on my glasses for this. I apologize if my eyes get ghosted out. It looks like we're okay, maybe. But yeah, it's going to be hard for me to see what's going on and read things. So you'll see down here we've got some... Wait, where? Oh no, the screen isn't quite lined up here. Good thing I noticed that. Okay, so something weird happened with the ToME... Something weird happened with the ToME window. So, sorry, give me a second to fix that up. Apologies to all those affected. Oh, it's probably because I have it in windowed mode, so I can see what's going on with the stream. Oh good, you can even see Norgos' lair behind my head there. Awesome. Okay, so you can see down here, we have some chat going on. We can see achievements people are earning and stuff like that. And player deaths, because of course this is a roguelike, and player deaths are a big part of the experience. So that's cool. You can commiserate, you can complain, you can laugh at people, stuff like that. So, usually it's actually recommended that you do the starting areas, because every race has a different starting area, and some of them are easier and harder than others, and you can do all of them. So it's usually recommended that you start with, I think it's the human one, is often recommended. But I'm gonna go here anyways, because this is our traditional one. And okay, so I've come out here. There is a wolf. I'm just gonna wait for it to come to me, and I'm gonna bump attack it a couple times. There we go. So that was easy enough. Oh, I'll get my I'm going to get my action bar set up here. So, what are all these buttons we have down here? Well, we have our Stunning Blow and our War Shout that we saw before. Here's our Rush, here's our Racial. Okay, now what's this? We haven't seen it before. So this is an infusion. This is what replaces potions in this game. So instead of having potions that we're consuming, we have infusions on their own cooldowns, and this one will heal us for 100 life over 5 turns. This is a healing infusion, which will heal us instantly, along with clearing a wound, poison, and or disease, and then a wild infusion, which will remove a random physical effect and then reduce the damage that we take for 4 turns. And this one especially is very important, because physical effects, things like stun, are some of the most debilitating abilities in the game, and if you get hit with one of them and can't remove it, you are often dead. So we're just gonna kind of methodically go through here, make sure we're fighting in choke points, things like that. We've got a maul there, or Iron Great Maul. It's just a generic, nothing special about it. So we've got some worm things here. Okay, I'm gonna come back here, fight in the choke. These worms will split every couple of turns. And you can see pretty standard roguelike stuff, where we are walking around, we are bump attacking, we have special abilities, which not all of them have. Found a dagger there, found a Zychron here. We have, we don't have unlimited carrying capacity. Here's our inventory. We just have a basic greatsword, basic iron mail, and then a lantern. But what we do have is this thing. Once you get to a certain point in the game, you unlock the transmogrifying chest, and everything in the game will spawn, or everything that you pick up will spawn into your transmog chest. And this doesn't count towards your weight limit, and once you leave an area, everything in here gets transmogrified into gold. So it takes out a lot of the inventory juggling and, you know, having to go back to town because you're at capacity and things like that a lot of roguelikes have. So it's a really nice, as I was mentioning before, those nice nice quality of life things that it has going on. You'll see I'm taking some damage from this. I'm at 114 out of 140, and then I have plenty of stamina because I'm not really using any right now. So I'm going to click my healing infusion. That gives me this infusion saturation, which increases the cooldown of all subsequent infusions I would use. So if you start using too many back-to-back, they'll all get longer and longer cooldowns. But, as it is, I can just hit R to rest until all of my cooldowns are off and my health is full. And we level up. Cool. So, when we level up... Oops, that was the wrong button. There we go. So we get 3 stat points, a class point, and a generic point. This varies from level to level, but that's what you get most levels. So right now, I really like maxing out our Stunning Blow ASAP. So I'm going to put my class point into that. I'm going to look at what sorts of things I want here. So we're going to want that extra strength for... if we want to go massive armor, we'll want to put extra points into this. I think that for now, we get a nice cooldown reduction off of this if we spend a category point here. But I think I might actually save it for a little bit and then see if we want to... Well, we can't put a couple points into thick skin at the same time. Okay. Okay, so heightened senses. This is actually pretty good, so I might want to get my... I'm actually going to increase my cunning by 2 here, and then go up 1 strength, so that I can get heightened sense. Heightened senses. So this is a passive that lets me see, quote-unquote, creatures within a radius of 5, even if we can't actually see them because they're shrouded in darkness. And so we can also get a better chance of seeing traps and invisible things and stuff like that. But I like getting a couple points into this just because sometimes you'll be in complete darkness or there'll be like magical darkness. And being able to see stuff even in that in those circumstances is great. Okay. Alright, so apparently it is the anniversary of release. So Dark God sometimes goes into the game and spawns these events. So... Alright, so the Fearscape is now positioned in high orbit over AL. The Fearscape is a cool demon thing that I'm not going to get too into detail on because we want to keep it going. But there are demons in this world, they are attacking the world, and they're really cool. This game has probably the coolest demons I have seen in any game ever because they themselves are cool and their backstory is awesome. We are not going to the Fearscape because we are level 2. But, I mean, we might later. So as you see, I'm doing fast travel around here, which I can just hit Control and then a direction, and it will travel until I reach something of interest or an enemy. And it even goes around corners like this, so I can hit down and it'll put me through this. Or if there's a change in the scenery, like, you know, there's a fork in the path, then it will stop you. And it can be dangerous to do that, especially at higher levels, because you might end up in a bad position. Like, a lot of times you might want to position yourself around a corner and then stop and pre-buff yourself and then peek around the corner or use a vision ability around it or something like that. But especially in early levels like this and when we're playing kind of fast, I think it's fine. And now we've explored a lot of this level, but there might be some things we missed, so now we're going to hit Z. And we've explored the whole level now. Z is the auto-explore feature, and it will bring you around the entire zone, make sure you've found everything that is there. If there are, like, hidden chambers and things like that, it won't actually show you those, but everything that you can just explore by walking around, it will bring you through, and then it will just ping you back and forth between the entrance and exit, if it has them. So, I don't have a cap, so I'm going to put this cap on. Mind Stars, we don't really care about. Okay, this is an upgrade. Is it? Okay, so this Great Sword deals a little less base power than ours, but it also splashes the target with acid. So that's probably worthwhile. So I'm going to throw on this Great Sword. And then everything else that's in here, when we leave the area, is going to transmogrify. So we get about 4 gold total off of that. Alright, so now we've got a troll here. So I stunned that guy, you can see the stars going around his head. And then I think I'll actually also war shout them, so that they hopefully fight each other instead of me. And then I can just hit R and it'll rest until my cooldowns are off and my resources are replenished. Okay, we took a fair amount of damage there, and we have a poison on us, so we're going to hit this, and that'll remove the poison and heal us up. I tried resting there, but then a snake showed up, and so we unrested. Okay, so we've got the Spell Hunter's Guide Part 2, How to Battle a Magic User. So, I'm not going to read all of these, but there's a lot of these really cool lore things in here that let you really piece together the story of Aal. Aal is the world, Maj Aal means Western Aal. And a big part of it is this battle between basically magic and anti-magic. And magic being involved in a big catastrophe that happened a while ago. We heard that referred to as the Spell Blaze earlier, and then the reaction to that going forward, trying to tamp down magic. It's basically like, this came out before Dragon Age Origins. I'm not sure if this version of the game did, but this game has been around for a long time before then. But it's basically like the Chantry versus Mage thing, but even worse in terms of like human rights abuses and catastrophes. So yeah, if you're familiar with that, that will feel familiar to you. And characters who do not have arcane magic can actually make the decision if they want to pursue an anti-magic path by supporting the anti-magic people, and then you get extra abilities and stuff. Okay, so here's part 3 of that same thing. You can give it a pause, give it a read if you want to know more about it. But yeah, we're not going to stop and read all these, because there's lots and lots of them. Some of them are plot relevant, some of them are just like there for world building. Alright, so we got a copper amulet here that gives us physical resistance and some stamina regen. So that's better than nothing, so we're going to put that on. That was actually a 40% increase in our stamina regen, so that's nice if we end up having to spam our abilities in the near future. And you'll see that... Oh, okay. Something just disappeared there. Okay, there's a rogue here, or a thief. Rogue. So these guys have stealth and do a lot of damage. You'll see that in 2 bump attacks there, I just took a third of my health. So I'm going to turn on my regeneration infusion. And now I've been poisoned, so I'm going to turn on my healing infusion to heal me and remove that poison. Now I'm going to stun, or attempt to stun that guy at work, and I'm going to confuse everyone. And there we go. Okay, so we took down the toughest guy. Now all of those guys are confused for the moment. Okay. Alright. Took care of all them. And you'll see we do have a little bit of passive health regeneration here too, just so that when we're resting, we can get back up to full health. Because resting doesn't have any inherent benefit other than passing turns to, regenerate your things. So, alright, we hit level 3. So, in one more level, we'll open up all of these. So I might want to... Oh, you can respec anywhere now. That's new. Cool. So we'll open up Fearless Cleave, Berserker Rage, Precise Striking, and Fast Metabolism. This is life regen. It's actually a big bump over what we have, so we might want to put a point into that. But it seems like it's a lower priority. Precise Strikes. This is a sustain ability. Let me see if I can work my mouse through the trench there. Oh no. Well, anyway, you can see on the right, this is a sustain ability. It costs 30 stamina to keep it going, and so that's just our max stamina is cut by 30 when we have it going. So this reduces attack speed, but gives us extra accuracy and crit chance. Attack speed in this, so speed's in this because everything's moving on this like simulated turn basis. If I'm moving at 200% speed, that means that I get to move twice and everything else moves once. If I'm attacking at 90% speed, that means that every 10th time I attack, everyone else is getting 2 turns, effectively. So it's simulating a turn-based thing, but with an actual, like, more fluid structure underneath it. So I think what I might do is... Fearless Cleave is quite good, because it's an AoE... It says cooldown 0. Huh. Okay. AoE ability that does a bunch of damage. This one gives us a Battle Rage that gives us extra damage, extra accuracy... It gives us stun resistance, which is huge, because as I mentioned before, stuns are very powerful, even though they were nerfed in this patch. Decreases our life by 2% per turn, but for every 1% life missing, we gain a 0.5% critical hit chance. This only is active when foes are in sight, so that's nice that it stops you from losing that when you're not in combat. So I think I'm going to save up this class point, and I'll just take a point of Fearless Cleave and a point of Berserker Rage next level. And then in the meantime, we have enough strength for all these things. This will take 20 constitution. Do we want it immediately? 30% chance to recover from a single stun effect every turn. Later we get blindness, confusion, pin, and slow recovery. That is all very good. This one you don't get into level 8. I think I'm gonna spend this level entirely on Constitution, so that we can get closer to Unflinching Resolve when we want that, get closer to Thick Skin, which maxing out Thick Skin is very important to most classes in this game. So we'll accept that, we'll leave this class point floating for now. Oh, I didn't actually put my generic point in here. So we could get shields, which we're not going to use with this character because we're using two-handed weapons, because two-handed is our only weapon tree. But we don't need combat accuracy right now because we seem to be hitting all the time, and that's really what this is for, is when you start missing, you put points into combat accuracy. Weapon mastery, I can't get for a little while yet. So I think I like decreasing our cooldown here, because this is a very good... Actually, this is different than it used to be. This is totally different than it used to be. Huh. Cool. So maybe I'll actually go with this, because this will give us a very nice healing boost on top of the, disease, wound, poison reduction. So we'll take that. Alright, took a little damage there, so we'll use our inscription. Alright, and now we've auto-explored everything on this level, so we'll go to the next one. We got some generic leather gloves here. All this stuff is not stuff we really care about. Mind stars are mostly for like psionic and nature-based quests. Okay, or classes. So here we go. We've got a quest here. Escort Lost Warrior, level 3 of Norgos' Lair. So... Oops. Please help me. I'm afraid I've lost myself in this place. I know there's a recall portal left around here by a friend, but I have fought too many battles and I fear I will not make it. Will you help me? Should... Go away, I do not care for the weak is always the wrong answer, by the way. Never check that answer. So we'll see if we can get this guy. If this were a normal game, I would say to myself, hey, let's put in a save here. But this is a roguelike, so there really isn't save states. It's Iron Man mode. If you save, that's basically just that, like, you save and quit. You can't revert to a previous save state because you can't quit without saving. So what do we have here? Oh, there's Arm Trap. Okay. So we have this guy that we want to get safely to this portal over here. That's going to be a windier path than I thought. These people... Oh, and here's... Okay, that's really bad, because here's Norgos, and then we want to get this person to safety, because then they'll give us a thing. So we're just going to have to kind of rush this, I think, and hope that it works. So hopefully Norgos will give us a turn or two before she starts attacking us. We did confuse her there, so that's good. Now we're going to try to stun her. And... get as much damage as we can here before she comes back online. And wait, okay. I thought that my guy had gone down that path even though I didn't see a path there. Okay, so let's stun again now that that's worn off. I'm going to turn on my regeneration infusion, and then also turn on my Gift of the Woods to start regenerating even more life passively, because Norgos is dealing a lot of damage to us. Okay, we are now stunned. That's what this screen effect is, so you'll see here. Reduces damage by 50%, puts 3 random talents on cooldown, and removes movement speed by 50%. While stunned, cooldowns are twice as slow. Twice as slow doesn't really make sense, but okay. And then we didn't save against it, so full duration. But we can hit our Wild Infusion here, and that removes the stun. The screen effect doesn't go away until you do another thing after removing the stun, but... Ooh, we have decimals on our cooldowns now. That's also new. Cool. Okay, so now we've got another stunning blow. Our stamina is doing okay so far, so we don't have to worry too much about that. And it looks like we're going to be okay with our escort in tow. I'm going to turn our Gift of the Woods back on, so that we don't give ourselves more infusion saturation and then turn off our wild infusion again if we have to use that again. I'm going to confuse them again to hopefully make them not attack me. There we go. Got her. So, we finished our initial quest here. where we explore Norgos's lair and put it to rest. From this, so we got an artifact here, the Eye of the Dreaming One. This ethereal eye stares eternally as if seeing things that do not truly exist. We also got a Rod of Recall, so we can use this to get out of situations, or to just recall to the world map if we're deep into a place and want to get out. There's no cooldown to it. However, it does have a long wind up. It takes 40 turns to actually activate, so there's really no way that we can oh no, we're in a bad spot, hit this button. Although you can do clever things like, if you want to explore something that might be really dangerous, you can hit this, wait for like 37 turns, and then go into the dangerous place, and then you'll get yoinked out, and then you'll know if it's safe to go back in there again. Hopefully you'll know, at least. You also notice that there's auto pickup in this game, so when you walk over a thing, you always pick it up because it goes into your transmog chest, so there's no reason not to, really, although you can turn that off. Okay, so our warrior, as you can see, is being a huge jerk and getting way ahead of us, which that's the different escorts have different AIs, but all of them are, like, utterly suicidal. So, yeah. It gets pretty tough. Although you can do things like this, where if you know they want to come this way, and you're pretty sure that you're safe behind you, you can like go here and then rest, and they can't get around you. They can't space swap you or anything like that. So, we have gotten our warrior to the pad. Thank you, my friend. I do not think I would have survived without you. Please let me reward you. So we can... Whoa! +5? I think it used to be like +1 or 2 for this. That's huge. Wow. I haven't played this game in like a year or so. I've played 453 hours of this game, so I've put my time in on this. It's not like, oh, I just set it down because I wasn't liking it very much. I've played through this game a ton of times, but it's been about a year. So, we can get 1 point into Unflinching Resolve or Vitality. We can get Exotic Weapon Mastery, or we can take Strength or Constitution. So this isn't great for us because this is a warrior, and we're a warrior. Well, we're a warrior class, subclass. So all the things that we can get here, Unflinching Resolve and Vitality, you'll notice those are things that we already had. This is the one that helps us recover from things. This is the one that... So this is the one that lets us recover from bleeds and stuff like that. Oh no, this is the high level one that lets us recover from abilities. This is the one that, when our life falls low, we get healing. So a lot of times this lets you open up things that other classes have that you don't have access to. So like some classes really need to find like a healer that can give them a healing ability because they lack that naturally and may not be able to like make good use of inscriptions. So I feel like it could be cool to get a point to one of these, and they're good abilities, but 5 points to Constitution or Strength, that's almost 2 levels. And I think that these might actually increase your cap too, because you're normally capped around like 60, I think. So I feel like I actually just want to take plus Strength. We could take Exotic Weapon Mastery, but you're sort of banking on finding a good exotic weapon there. And then you have to like dump points into this to get good at them and things like that. So since I don't really know how this class works, I'm going to go with the safe bet and just go Strength. Although these two both are pretty cool. +5 Strength. Thank you. So that's cool. It's good that we got our first... I think I've only completed the... every one of your escorts survives quest once in this game in all my playthroughs. Because it is very hard. There's like 10-ish or something of them. And it is very hard not to have any of them die because, as I said, they are suicidal and will charge in to their obvious and speedy demise at the drop of a hat. Let's put some confusion on there. Beat these guys down. Rough leather belt. It's not really going to do anything. Actually, we have an insulating rough leather belt of carrying here. So we get resistance to cold fire, maximum encumbrance, and minus fatigue. And minus fatigue is awesome because your fatigue multiplier is a multiplier on all your stamina costs. So you can put on this coat too. These are all one-handed, except for this one, but it's not enchanted. Okay, so what do we have here? So I have the Dreaming One. This is a psionic-powered tool, which gives us plus will, plus mental saves, plus mind power. We count as being asleep, but lucid, which means that we can't be put to sleep by things and has some other interesting effects in particular situations. And let's see, it can cast Sleep, so it puts targets in a radius to sleep, unable to act. So this is a miscellaneous item. It would go in... there we go. Is there a miscellaneous spot? Let's do it. Let's put it there. This isn't really meant for us necessarily. There are some classes that can make a lot of use out of the sleep part, but not we. So anyway, we have now explored this whole place. There's no exit from here aside from going back, so the auto-explorer is going to take us back to that. So we will just hit our Rod of Recall, and then rest. And there we go. So here's the overworld map. You'll see that we look just like we looked before, but we can't use our abilities here, like we can't fight. You cannot do that on the world map, it says. This is the next dungeon for our race, but we don't want to go there yet because you actually want to do all the starter dungeons before you do the second set of dungeons. So here is Chatur, this is our capital. Let's head in. So here we go, you can see pretty much the whole town here. The towns in this game are not huge, they're basically just, shop places, that's what they usually are in roguelikes. We've got some lore here. Lament for lands now lost. The elves lost a lot in this game, as they have in most fantasy settings. We've got a statue here, we've got, this is an armor person, you can see because they've got the little leather armor thing there. So we can buy stuff here. We can hit control to compare what's there to what we have. So this is cunning willpower. This is not really for us. This is for like summoners and stuff like that. These are gloves that when we punch people with them, they get blighted. Then we got some leather armor. None of this is really great for us, so we're going to skip that. This is a... this place sells, like, psionic stuff, so it has those mind swords I talked about before, and then also these miscellaneous items, so, like, torques, which are psionic, psionic trinkets. That this one lets us mind blast someone and silence them, so that can be really powerful against spellcasters. This one summons a resilient tentacle for 3 turns that will strike a random enemy in range and try to pin them. And this one gives us Thorn Skin, so it increases our damage reduction and... it actually doesn't reflect damage back. But, so that's a damage reduction one. Here we can buy healing infusions. So... let's see. Well, all different types of infusions. We've got healing infusion of the warrior, of the wizard, and then regeneration infusion of the psychic. Of the warrior, of the wizard, of the psychic just tells you what stat it scales with. So this one scales with strength, this one with intelligence or magic, and then this one with willpower. Yeah. So these are just like the healing infusion that we have, but let's see. This one would heal us for 97 with a 13-second cooldown. Ours heals us for 50 with a 12-second cooldown. And then, of course, this one... where are we? There we go. This one will scale up as we get more strength. So this might be a good thing to remember. And while the healing infusions heal a lot less than the regeneration infusions of the same power, this happens over time versus instantly. And also, this one, the usage speed is 100% of a turn. This one is 0% of a turn. So sometimes you might try to save yourself with a regeneration infusion and you actually die when you hit it because that takes your whole turn. Whereas this one, you can hit the infusion and still do something else before your turn's over. So it's like a bonus action, sort of, in D&D. Okay, so we've got some mail armor here, which we can wear mail, but we cannot yet wear massive armor because we need 3 points in the armor training for that. So is this good for us? So this one gives us more fatigue. It gives us 5 more constitution. That's huge. It changes our resistances a little bit, and it gives us some saves. It's good, but it costs 143 gold, and we only have 20. So not going to be able to get that. I don't think we can really buy anything very good yet, because we're so low on money. But we'll just take a look. So here we got swords, long swords, and great swords. Too expensive for us. I do have a shopping list plugin installed, but I don't remember what the activation is for it. I think it's like... is it like control? Yes, it's control enter. Adds an item to our wish list, which is a great plugin. I super recommend that. if you play this game, because there's a ton of different shops and they all replenish their stores at different times. So being able to instead of, like, I used to have like huge Google Docs of stuff I wanted to buy in this game, and so instead of doing that, when you can just say, hey, I want to mark it in my log and I'll come back to it later. That's great. Alright, so let's look around the overworld a little bit, but not too much, because there are people walking around that will kill us. As I said, you can't fight in the overworld, but you can, like, run into random patrols of random thugs, and they will fight you, and you'll usually die at this level. So, just walking around the countryside here. There's this dude here. Before you stands a young man, a novice mage by his looks. Good day to you, fellow traveler. What brings an apprentice mage out into the wilds? Ah, my story is a sad one. I should not trouble you with it, my friend. There's no trouble at all. Please tell me. Well, if you insist. I am a novice mage, as you might have noticed, and my goal is to be accepted by the people of Anglowin and be taught the secrets of the arcane. Who are the people of Anglowin? The keepers of our... I did not think I'm supposed to talk about them. Sorry, my friend. In any case, I must collect many items. I have some already, but I'm still looking for an arcane-infused artifact. You do not happen to have one, I imagine. Well, if you do, please tell me. I will keep that in mind. That was a very sad tale, wasn't it? As promised. So, we've got a maze here, we've got an old forest here, we've got Dirth, which is a town, we've got the ruins of Korpol, we've got Trollmire, and then what we're going to do is, let's see, we're level 3 at the moment. Let's head into Trollmire. This is the human starting zone, it's where I usually start out. Although I usually don't finish it, because the boss here is tougher than a lot of the other starter dungeon bosses. So, ooh boy, this is kind of a nasty position to start out in. Let's confuse those guys, stun this guy. I don't know how they all disappeared there. I think they might have stumbled around some random stuff. Okay, so this is a tattered paper scrap. This is part of the, like, plot. Most of the zones have plot stuff in them, like little scraps of paper and things like that. So, gorgeous glade, but I could swear that looked like a part of a human femur. Some absolutely gigantic troll, but fortunately I threw him off my scent. So, someone's travel diary, which of course you tear to pieces and leave behind you in case something unthinkable happens while you're out and about. Just, you know, video game survival 101, obviously. So you'll see these creatures here are taking a lot more hits for me to kill than the previous ones were. There is some scaling up to your level that happens in this game. So these guys are level 7, actually, where we are level 3. But since they're, you know, just like random mooks, we can just dispose of them pretty easily, despite the level difference. The wasps, you know, all the creatures have different stats, even though we're just sort of bumping into them for the most part now. They all do have different stats and things like that. Like the wasps, the giant wasps, are very hard to hit in comparison to other things. The trolls obviously are quite durable. Okay, so let's get back into here. Oh boy, I didn't realize they could get around that way. So you kind of want to do a retreating pattern here. Oh, no, I can't get through there. Oh boy, that's not good. Okay, so let's hit that, because that happens immediately. And then we'll confuse everyone. And we'll stun this guy, and then start fighting this one down. Stun that guy again. Killed him. Great. Okay, that was pretty sloppy on our part, but we made it. You can afford to be a little bit loosey-goosey in this part of the game, because it's, you know, the enemies are much weaker compared to your strength. Alright, ooh, we got a Flaming Iron Greatsword of Massacre here. Ooh, boy, that's a huge damage bonus. So let's do that. And this is a radius 1. A radius 1 burst. So I'm just gonna... When you unequip something, it doesn't go into your transmog chest, it goes into your inventory, so I'm gonna just transmog those things that... What's this? Oh, this must be something that we got from that event that Dark God spawned. Ooh, okay, Injured Seer. Ooh, that Seer could be quite good for us, because we have none of their abilities. Okay, So, this is an interesting thing. Please help me. I'm afraid I've lost myself in this place. I know there's a recall. Okay, this is exactly what the last one said. So there's Leon, I'll protect you. Go away, I do not care for the weak. Or pretend to help, but when it is time, you will use a technique to make the portal fizzle. Silly Dao, the injured seer, will be sent to Ziggur to be dealt with properly. So this is where we're going to see the magic versus anti-magic thing, because seers are arcane magic users, and the only arcane magic users that are accepted by society are alchemists, because they're really more like scientists than mages. So if you want to come down on the side of persecuting magic users, you can take these options and you'll like get different rewards and curry favor with Ziggur, which is the like fanatical anti-magic faction. But I'm actually not going to do that because that's mean. So, lead on, I'll protect you. I feel like from an RP perspective, my character doesn't really care about these things. Like, okay, we can see the portals over here. You know, I'm a berserker, I care more about... Oh, where did you go? Where'd you go, friend? Friend, where are you? Friend, what happened? Help, someone. She's taking damage. Oh god. Oh there she is. Okay. Unfortunately, I have no way of healing her, so my only way of restoring her health is going to be to find somewhere where I can block her and then wait for a long time while she can't move. Although, actually, she may not even have any health regen. She does not seem to. There are a couple of abilities in this game that let you heal another person, and they're very valuable for escort quests. Yeah, you just ran into the black bear. Yes, I know there's a black bear there. You can actually, a limited number of times, tell your escort person to stop, which is quite nice. But you have a limited number of that, and so if you can find a place like this to, like, barricade them so they can't get past you, that's usually... Oh god, where did you go? That's usually the right way of approaching it. See what I was saying about these guys? Okay, it looks like she's safe. There we go, okay. So we can get 5 magic, 5 willpower, premonition, arcane aggravation. Okay, well actually none of these are that great for us. Okay, so premonition lets us sense incoming attacks. This is a magic sustain, so we don't really... It takes 120 magic, or mana, and we don't have mana. We have stamina. And also, if we take anything that's magical, we will not be able to enter Ziggur, because they will see that we are magic users and kick us out. So this lets us lets us put up a magic eye, vision, lets us map our surroundings. So none of these are actually that great. So I think we're just going to take the willpower boost, because yeah, these are... this is too much mana to sustain. This one... so Arcane Eye is actually decent, but it takes more points to really make it good, so I'm just going to take the willpower. That'll give us extra willpower, and we'll scale up our... It does scale up our racial abilities, which is quite nice. Ooh, I should also remember that I have this sleep ability here. Also, I don't think you can see her, but Luna has decided to take up in my lap, and it's adorable. Luna is one of our 2 kitties. She's a very good girl and a complete sadist. Alright, so this is a very, very small vault. There are vaults all throughout this game, various sizes and difficulties. They usually have an enemy or 2 in them, or many, many, many enemies. The enemies are usually out of depth, so they're tougher than most things in whatever area that you are. And the stuff inside is usually quite nice. This looks like it's a small one. It's got a bunch of rooms in it, so let's open it up. Yeah, when you get this dialogue, that means you're going into a vault and need to be kind of careful. Whoa, okay, that is more than I was expecting. Let's confuse all of them. And our weapon does do a, it has an AoE right now, so that is quite nice. And you're seeing how much more it's taking to beat these guys than previous snakes, because they're, let's see, I guess these are just level 6, it looks like, but okay, so that wasn't too hard. We gained a level, and we get to reap this. Ooh, that looks like a unique rune down in the corner there. Okay, so A basic wild infusion that removes magical abilities. A mana surge rune, doesn't matter for us. Ooh, a movement rune, or a movement infusion. Movement infusions are some of the most powerful and most, like, necessary move to normal inventory runes in this game, or really items in the game. Blink rune that lets us teleport. A random short distance regeneration infusion, just like the one we have right now. Mana surge of the Titan, again, doesn't matter. Regeneration infusion, worse than ours. Healing infusion, worse than ours. And then mirror image rune, which I've not seen before. Magical runes may be inscribed onto your body, granting you an on-demand spell talent. I think that's placeholder text. Let's see what it does. So this is an arcane artifact, so we could give this to the guy that we met earlier, and complete that quest. But so activate the rune to cast or to create up to 3 images of yourself that taunt nearby enemies. Only 1 image can be created per enemy in radius 10, with the first being created near the closest enemy. Images inherent all of your life, resistance, armor, defense, and armor hardiness, which is basically another component to your armor. It can be used to inscribe your skin with the rune. Okay, so I'm going to put this in our regular inventory. I don't think any of these other ones are very useful for us other than the movement infusion. Here's the thing, though. If we want to use this, we have reached the maximum number of inscriptions, runes/infusions. Inscriptions means infusion or rune, but infusions are natural and runes are arcane. So we can spend a category point. Remember we talked about category points before, where we can unlock new talent trees. So we can also spend them to unlock new infusion slots up to 5. So we can either cancel or replace one of our current runes with this one. And I think I actually like replacing our regeneration infusion right now. We already have a regeneration talent, and I feel like between that and this healing infusion being instant, and then this wild infusion clearing some of the worst status effects in the game, that this is probably the worst rune that we have right now. So I'm going to remove that one. So now we have this awesome movement rune. So what does this do? Or movement infusion, rather. Increases our movement speed by 431%. This only lasts for 1 turn, but that's 1 game turn. So that means that we can move 5 times and change in the time that everything else can move once. So even though it's only 1 game turn, we're moving 5 spots. But the really important thing, so that's really good. It lets us escape from things. It lets us close the distance if we have to. I'll rest so this comes off cooldown. But this also gives us 100% stun, daze, and pin immunity. So if we go up against something like a skeleton warrior, which can stun you very easily, we can use this infusion, and for... Oh, wait. Oh, that duration used to be a long time, but now it just says for the duration of the effect, which is 1 game turn. So, yeah, that actually doesn't last for... So, okay, these got nerfed apparently. Either that or the duration got worse for, like, generic ones or something. Also, where did all of these points come from? Why do we have 5 class points all of a sudden? Did we gain a ton of levels and just miss it? We're level 6, so we missed 2. I guess we missed a couple levels up. Okay. That's embarrassing. So let's do this. I don't think I need to put a second point into this right now because it's a pretty small throughput increase. We will put this in here because, you know, getting physical power is great, accuracy is great, stun and pinning resistance is great, and then the crit is good, and we have regeneration things that can help us with the life loss. I think I want precise strikes right now. I think I actually honestly want to just get this up to an 8-turn stun. In two levels, we'll be able to start taking these. So we've got Death Dance, which is like player-based AoE, like a spin. It also gives a bleed once you hit 3rd level with this ability. Shattering Blow, extra damage, and it reduces their armor. Also it can shatter temporary shields, which is really good because temporary shields are very powerful in this game. Spell shields, this is just spell save, and spell save gets worse and worse the later you get into the game. The saves do, and then the immunities become better and better, or the resistances become better and better. So that meaning like resistance being like 10% chance to resist versus like 10 spell save, for technical reasons I'm not going to get into. So yeah, this tree doesn't seem terribly good, but these two are both quite good. So for now, I think... yeah, let's max that out. Let's see how this improves. So I think for my next one, I'm going to do this so that our confusion range gets bigger, and also we go from 4 to 5 turns. Next level we'll go from 5 to 7, so that'll be a bigger increase. And the reason for that, as you'll see here, this says times 1.3 times 1.3. These, like this says times 1, this says 1.3. So times 1.3 means that we're really, really good at this thing. And that means that our effective level is actually multiplied by 1.3. So this isn't actually level 5, this is level 5 times 0.3, so like 7 and change or something like that. So that's why this is jumping up from, why it goes from, you know, it increases by 1 and then increases by 2, because we're effectively going up to level 3.9, so I think it's running it to 4 at that point. So anyway, weird thing about the game, but quite nifty. So let's see. For these, we need 28 strength, so let's get the strength up to where we need it to be for that. And then I think I'm going to dump the rest into Constitution right now, because that will get us high enough to put a point into Thick Skin. So now we have 4% across-the-board damage resistance, and that is awesome. Because the way that you usually die in these games is by you take a big crack all at once, and you couldn't mitigate it. We also have enough strength now to take a level in Weapon Mastery. So this gives us a big boost to our weapon damage, which is great. So we'll save that, and be on our way. Also, the Auto Explore feature will rest you, I believe, before it starts moving you, so that's great. Okay, back again. But he's just a stupid old troll. It'll be easy not to let him get wind of me. Innately found his treasures stashed further on, but had to turn back. If you get this, help! So, yep, our intrepid friend obviously in some trouble there. From some big troll. But, you know, we've been having no trouble with trolls, so I'm sure it will be just fine when and if okay, this is not a place we want to be fighting in, so let's actually move an infusion. And you will see how nice that is. Look at how far we can make it. And then I'll hit that healing. And then I think I'll want to fight them over here, so I'm going to hit 5 on the number pad a bunch of times. I think that... no, that doesn't do it. Put period? There's some other way of resting without using the number pad, but... okay, so this, now we can do that and confuse everyone. And, oh, also we have our cleave ability here. So we can do that in this direction. And then, okay, so this is just like a stamina dump, basically. We can do that as many times as we want, as long as we have the stamina, which we only have the stamina for a few times. But that is very, very good. Okay, I'm going to turn on my racial ability and get some healing over time going. But I'm actually going to back up even further and get into this little nook here. And then we will confuse everyone again. There we go. Okay, that guy knocked me back, but I could get back into the spot before they could plug it, so that's good. We're going to hit our healing infusion, because that'll bring us almost back up to full. And then I think I'm going to turn on my Berserker Rage here and increase our damage and accuracy. Okay, sweet. Okay, so this is Letter to Weissman number 2. I'm not going to read these again, but there's this long correspondence between Weissman and his friend Rolf. Yeah, Weissman and Rolf. And it's great, and it's actually minorly plot relevant in one of the like, for one of the races, their starting stuff. Okay, so, this guy's hitting me over here. I'm going to Movement Infusion up to this guy. He's out of range for my charge, which I know I haven't used yet, but I can Movement Infusion up there, and then hit him. And once I start hitting, because this just increases my movement speed, not my attack speed, so that falls off after I do an attack. because my attack speed isn't increased, so that one turn only lasts for, you know, it falls off once I've done something that takes my normal speed to do. Okay, did I miss anything here? I don't think that I like this more than the one that I have right now. Oh, well, this is a nice upgrade. It gives me 3 strength, and spell power, and spell saves. So spell saves are nice. The other thing is irrelevant. Yep, just toss all of those. I didn't want to use the magic reduction, wild infusion, over the physical one, because magical effects are generally the least debilitating of all. There's magic is usually the least powerful, and then mental is kind of in the middle, and then physical is generally the most powerful. You'll see me take a bunch of damage there because I just wasn't paying attention to what was going on. So, like most roguelikes, this game can be pretty punishing, even though it's, you know, there's a lot of things to remove tedium. Oh, I don't like the looks of this. We have Stormdrake hatchlings here. So I'm gonna back up again, because this often means that there is something tougher, like a larger Stormdrake in the area. Let's turn on our regeneration here. Let's do a cleave. Okay, looks like we dealt with that all right. Get all of our abilities back. Okay, so what's our range on this? Okay, we can charge this guy, so let's just do that. This is why I don't charge too often in big open spaces like this, because as you'll see, we just charged into range of a bunch of guys. But because we could kind of see what was going on around here, and we'd cleared out a lot of these guys already, it was more or less alright. I think I want to turn my racial back on. This new racial is very good. I don't remember exactly what their old one does, or what their old one did, but I'm going to movement infusion back into a safe spot here. Wow, that guy's fast. It kept up with me. And you can actually see everything about an enemy if you inspect them. Like, global speed, movement speed, attack speed, it's stunned and off balance, so that's why this stuff is lower. And that's why stun is so powerful, basically. So you can see everything about it. You can see its talents, you can see what it's equipped with, if it's a unique thing that has equipment. So all of the information is available to you. It's just a matter of how responsible are you going to be with that. I cannot hit this snake for the life of me. It might be time to put a point or two into combat accuracy, because I'm having a hard time hitting some guys now. Dexterity also increases your hit chance, of course. Alright, let's, oh, that was the wrong button. That's okay. Charge that guy. What's the range on this again? Range 6. Pretty good. Our sight range is 10 by default. Although in dark conditions, it will be, obviously often lower than that. Okay, I think I just saw... Oh, okay, so here is Prox the Mighty. That is the boss of this level. This isn't the boss that I said I don't like to fight immediately. There's another one after this zone that I usually skip for until I'm a little higher level. So this is a pretty good defensible position. I think I'm okay to fight here. And I'm going to turn this on, or not that one, the Berserker Rage, to just try to take him down as quickly as possible, even though I'll be taking damage too. Alright, charge back up to him. Oops. There we go, level up. Quest, Hidden Treasure, updated. So we found River's Fury. This gorgeous and ornate trident was wielded by Lady Nashfa, and when you hold it, you can faintly hear the roar of a rushing river. So maybe we should have taken the exotic weapons, because tridents are exotic weapons. We also found Skull Cleaver, a small but sharp axe with a handle made of polished bone. The blade was chopped through the skulls of many and has been stained a deep crimson. Okay, so this is our quest update. The way to the treasure is to the east, but beware, death probably awaits there. Indeed. And then the last piece of paper here, writing this in a tree, and he's at the bottom of it, waiting. His club is the size of a tall dwarf. Don't think I'm gonna make it. Alongside the note is a part of a plan of the region. And you can see the blood stains on here, of course, for a nice eerie touch. And we level up, so we are now level 7. I think I'm just going to hold on to this point for now so I can dump it into both of these, because those are both very good, and we have enough strength for both of them, so that's great. Let's take that point of combat accuracy now, so that we have an easier time hitting. And then... do we want to... no, I don't really like that. This one's actually pretty good track, but it's going to take a lot of cunning, and we don't really want to invest much into cunning, so I'm going to skip that for now. I'm just going to go all strength this time, now that we've hit our first breakpoint for thick skin. Alright, so now we're hitting those wasps much more easily. Also, what's the damage on this again? 73% weapon damage plus the stun. So that's less damage than a normal attack. Oh, leveled up again. Sweet. Well, let's deal with that guy. Okay, so now we can go Death Dance for the AoE. And then Shattering Blow. Ooh, and this goes up from 35 to 70% chance to shatter a shield. So this is going to be incredibly important against some enemies, that, especially like arcane-focused ones, that their defenses are largely damaged shields. Okay, cool. So we've now opened up Verdant, which is our second racial ability. Heal for a portion of damage taken. Okay, you gain 25% nature and acid damage affinity. So damage affinity doesn't reduce damage, it actually heals you for part of the damage. So we take 25% of all incoming nature and acid damage and heal that amount instead. So it's actually better than 25% resistance, because we're, you know, getting extra bonuses out of it. Okay, I don't think I like this very much, that said, because there aren't a whole lot of things that... there aren't a whole lot of things that deal that kind of damage. Oh, this is just a thing that's passively there, so that's pretty cool. Oh, I should probably put some points on Unflinching Resolve now, huh? Now that I have enough Constitution for it. So I don't think I really want to feel like I need to keep running up this one. Yeah, so if we end up getting more statuses than we can cure, this could be really, really good. Especially once we get up to 3, because then we can also clear Confusions, which are another massively damaging ability. We can start putting stuff into heavy armor training now, too, because we have enough strength to get up to level 3, I believe. But, since it'll be a little while before we're getting good heavy armor anyways, I'm just gonna leave that for now. Hello, ant. Hello, tree. Oh, and there's the pot that, like the cooking pot that one guy, Prox, I think. Okay, so this one looks like it's a vault. Okay, there's a degenerated skeleton warrior. So these guys, even the degenerated skeleton warriors, can be... oh wait, maybe they don't. I thought that these guys could stun you, but I guess that's only the normal skeleton warriors. So, nothing to see here. I'm gonna do this... okay, yeah, that does not work. Confirmed. Okay, so nothing actually in this one. So now we are going to peace out. I should probably put my abilities over here. So just rest until we teleport away. So yeah, this is a one-handed weapon, so we don't really want that. But we can... oh wait. Oh yeah, that's the trident. That's the trident, so we can't use that anyways. So both of these are arcane weapons. The two-handed is probably more valuable than the one-handed, so I'm gonna give this one to the apprentice. Let's move that to normal inventory. Oh, we got some plus stamina and stamina regen boots, and they're iron boots, so they're extra armor. So this is a room that lets us teleport up to 3 spaces within line of sight, but this is random. So this lets you escape, maybe. It can be useful for some classes that need some kind of escape button like that lack one intrinsically. But it's not great for us because we can't really, like... we have no way of capitalizing on this other than like using a movement infusion to get out after we've teleported a little bit. So it's just controlled blink runes are awesome, where we can determine where we go, but not so great with this one. So this is actually awesome too, because this gives us plus healing modifier, plus physical save, and plus 40 maximum life. So that's a huge upgrade over the just generic lamp that we had before. So let's transmog that. Now click out here, and we'll transmog all these things. We got 15 gold from River's Fury. So let's head over to the Apprentice now. I found this artifact. It looks powerful and arcane infused. Maybe it would be enough? Not that. We want to hold on to that one. Skull Cleaver. I guess he doesn't really say anything. So do you have enough magical items now? Ah, yes, I am so glad. I will be able to go back to Anglur... Whoa, well, I guess I can tell you. You deserve it for helping me. During the dark years of the Spell Hunt, many thousands of years ago, Linanil, the great mage of the Kor Krull, worried that magic might disappear with her generation and be lost to mortals should they need it again. So she set a secret plan into action and built a secret place where magic could be kept alive. Her plan worked, and the group built a town called Angluin in the Western Mountains. He marks it on your map along with a portal to access it. Not many people are accepted there, but I will arrange for you to be allowed inside. Oh, how could such a place be kept secret for so long? This is interesting indeed. Thank you for your trust. Like, as you can tell, not 100% on the, like, consistency of the world there, although there's some ulterior motives going on there, too. But yeah, that is a very silly thing. I will not deny that. That, you know, you can just walk up and this guy tells you the thing immediately. So here's a patrol. This is the first patrol we've seen. This is a Zigguranth patrol, so it's the people from Ziggur, and they just walk around and be friendly, unless you have any magic abilities, in which case they will walk around and they will kill you. Like, these guys will kill you so bad in the early game. You will not know it hit you. So yeah, stay away from them in that case. We got some stat points from that, so that's cool. I think we're good on strength at the moment, so let's dump this level into getting some extra life and the extra, how much is it? 2.1% healing mod, so that's really nice. And actually, I'm going to say too, little humble brag here, Dark God is really cool because he's super involved in like listening to the community and implementing their ideas when they're good. And a couple of years ago, I think it was now, someone put up a thread on the ToME main forum and said, you know, Constitution's kind of lackluster because it doesn't scale very well. And I said, well, don't you think it would be cool if maybe it gave you healing modifier? And Dark God said, yeah, it would. And then just put it in the game in the next patch. And that was awesome. So it's, you know, his like responsiveness to community suggestions is awesome. And actually, the community is really involved in like modding and helping balance this game. So that's really awesome. And there's some great community tools too. So anyway, we will accept that. And if we run into these guys, we just swap places. Nothing actually happens if we're friendly with each other. So we can go to Angluin now. So let's do that. Because, you know, it's been hidden for millennia, but, you know, some guy finds an artifact for an apprentice and he just lets you in on the secret immediately. So you got a really cool fountain here that has all this on it. We've got this cool looking guy who has like fire or lightning shield, and this guy who has like fire wings, and this guy has fire wings, and I can't talk to any of them, but here is Linanil. So this is like the high mage woman with all these cool buffs on her. Tall woman stands before you. Her fair skin radiates incredible power through her white robe. I am Linanil of the Kor Krull. Welcome to our city, Berserker. What may I do for thee? Nothing for now. Sorry to have taken your time. Farewell, my lady. She will do like one or two things in the plot over the course of the game. We've got Archmage Torellian. I say, you there. Yes, you, young one. You seem like the adventuring fair, all up to sorts of do-daddle in the outside world, I imagine. Well, don't forget to pay patronage to our good library here in the city, which is of the world, are all well and good, but where would we be without the gift of knowledge? And all proceeds go towards funding the further research. No greater cause, eh? Yes, of course. I'll be moving on now. And you can see people down here asking questions. Hey, like, how do I auto-explore? You hit Z. So the community is pretty active and really helpful. So we can buy... well, there's a lot of stuff in all the stores now, probably because they restock more often. So this gives us pinning and knockback resistance and temporal immunity because it stabilizes us, so that's really cool. Plus will and magic doesn't really do much for us. Cutting doesn't really do much for us, so we'll leave those. Heroism Infusion of the Titan. We're going to mark that on our list because Heroism Infusions are amazing. So this scales up with Constitution for 1, so that's great for us. Activate the infusion to endure even the most grievous of wounds for 6 turns. While Heroism Infusion is active, you will only die when reaching negative 358 life. The duration in life will increase by 1% for every 1% life you have lost. Ooh, that's new. Currently 358 life, 6 duration. When your life is below 0 when this effect wears off, it will be set to 1. The item will scale with your Constitution stat. So, we can't afford it right now, and we probably want to get another rune slot before we add this. It's Generation Rune of the Wizard, not great. Wild Infusion of the Titan. This is mental, so not as good as our physical one for the most part. But that Heroism Infusion, if we can come back later and pick that up, that's great for us. We've got a Blink Rune here, Ethereal Rune. Well, Ethereal, all damage you deal is reduced 50%, and you gain 17% all your distance, and you move 33% faster, and you are invisible, power 12. Oh, that's cool. Shielding Rune, this is the core of a lot of builds in this game. So it gives you a 92-point damage shield. This one scales with Constitution. It's giving us a 191-point damage shield for 4 turns. That's a huge chunk of HP. And it's instant. It costs 0% of a turn. And then we've got some stuff we can read here, but we're not going to do that right now because we want to play through this a bit faster. Then we have a staff shop where we can also do staff training if we want. But we don't use staves. We are a berserker. They actually do have wands here too, so if we wanted to use this trinket here, we can cleanse disease, wounds, or poison, but 1, it's expensive, we don't have the money, and 2, we can already do that with our healing infusion, and 3, that's not really the best trinket I've seen out there, even compared to our one we have right now that I keep forgetting to use. So let's check out Dearth. You'll see one holdout from traditional roguelikes is the press like left, like less than or greater than symbol to transition between zones, because it used to be like you would hit one of those to go upstairs and one of them to go downstairs. Yeah, that's a quaint thing. So we got Healing Infusion of the Psychic. This is a little better than ours, but probably not worth spending money when we don't have much money. Healing Infusion of the Warrior, that one will scale up quite well for us. And then here's a Wild Physical of the Warrior. So this is going to give us more... Let's see, this is 17% and 15 cooldown. So it's 14 cooldown, 40%. So it's not really much better than the one you have right now, but it will scale up. And what the scaling does is it increases the damage reduction number. So I think this Healing Infusion of the Warrior is worth putting on our shopping list. Let's do that. Got some pickaxes here, but we'll find a pickaxe before too long. We don't spend money on one unless we find a really good one. So Strength, Constitution, that's okay. This is plus resist all, so that's really good, but that's actually worse than 40 hit points right now, I feel like, because our hit point hit point total isn't that great, so it's better to just increase that by a bigger number. But I think I will actually put this on the list as well. Yes. Scorching Breast, Function of Clarity. Again, it's decent, but our other stuff, the thing we have right now, is probably better for us. We can buy gems here, which is important for classes like Alchemist, but doesn't really do anything for us. We've got quivers and ranged weapons here. That doesn't really do anything for us. Iron Greatsword of Massacre. That's like ours, but without fire damage, so not really an upgrade. I guess I can check out what else is there. True Striking Iron Greatsword. So blue means that it has a higher level enchantment on it. They're called egos in this game. So plus armor penetration and resistance penetration physical. So that's actually pretty cool, but not a huge upgrade to what we have right now. This is all daggers. We got armor down here. So this is 2 powerful egos. Blue means you have 1 powerful ego. Purple means you have 2. So this is, interestingly, this is infused by arcane disrupting forces and crafted by a master. So these are tied to the egos of the item, and most of them don't have abilities, but arcane forces will turn Ziggur against you, or stop you from being anti-magic, I think is what happens. And arcane disrupting forces will disrupt any arcane items that you have on, and any arcane abilities that you have. So this could be good for us, who has no arcane abilities, but would be really hard for someone like you know, a magic user, or like the arcane blades, which are like the warrior mages. Okay, so this burns 17 arcane resources when you hit, so I think that actually deals damage and drains the arcane resource, so mana, usually. It gives accuracy and armor penetration, and cunning and dexterity, and spell save, and we can activate it to use, we can use steady shot, but that's for range stuff, but this might be worth keeping an eye on, because that arcane disruption can be really good, and we're not going to be going arcane with this character. Enlightening mail armor, so that's like mental saves and stuff. This is enlightening iron mail armor of Aal, which the Aal gives plus life regen and healing mod in life. But since this is just iron, and iron stuff becomes obsolete pretty quickly, I don't think it's worth spending a bunch of money on. There are some low-level things that you want to keep an eye on, even if they're you know, iron or whatever, because there's some things that you need at some point to really do well in some levels, like water breathing. But so here we have the home of Styr the Alchemist. A human robed in immaculate white satin opens the door and eyes you appraisingly. Ah, an adventure. I was just thinking that I needed a new one. That sounds promising and ominous. Indeed, it is both promising and ominous. I can reward you handsomely for your efforts, but they will lead you into deadly peril, which I assume the previous 3 fellows who went off on my errand never can attest. What do you propose? Good adventurer, I am an alchemist, and quite a good one. This year, for the first time, the great Brotherhood of Alchemists has invited my application to their number. I'll not try your patience with the details of the application process, but suffice to say that it is grueling. Fortunately, a mere 3 tasks now stand between me and acceptance. How can I help? I require ingredients for 3 potent mixtures. Obviously, since I seek your aid, none of them is to be found simply by strolling to the local herbalists. No, they will need to be forcibly parted from their owners, who will, just as obviously, put up a fight. I've yet to encounter a Naga who would be persuaded to hand over his tongue. Ha! Oh, I am droll at times. I specialize in separating vital body parts from monsters. What do you offer in return? I will let you share in the fruits of my labors. Each of the 3 mixtures I shall produce in a quantity sufficient to create 3 doses. 1 for you, 1 for me, and 1 for the Brotherhood and their confounded trial. Oh, sorry, and 1 for you. I said that wrong. I must tell you that that time is of the essence. I am not the only one who the Brotherhood invited this year, yet they will accept only 1 applicant, the first to complete their trials. I know of at least 3 others laboring furiously to take my rightful place. Should your aid see me through, then I will reward you beyond even the remarkable elixirs. I have an ancient life-binding emerald that grants great powers of health and healing when used properly. What say you? I accept. Excellent. Now then, I have 3 elixirs I'm working on. I'll burden you with only 1 at a time since I've learned the hard way about the hazards of overloading an adventurer's brain. Here are your options. The elixir of the fox, which makes you as nimble and cunning as the fox. The elixir of avoidance, which sharpens your natural inclinations to get out of the way of incoming harm. Or the elixir of precision, which grants intuitive understanding of an enemy's most sensitive spots. Which would you like to aid me with? So this one increases dexterity and cunning by 3. Not great for us. This one increases defense and range defense by 6. Also not great for us. This one is 4% critical strike chance, which is very good for us, so we will say that one. Here's a list of the ingredients I'm missing. Please attempt not to lose your life in their pursuit. I'll be most put out if I must wait another year. Oh, and I suppose I should tell you that there's already a handful of adventurers out scouring the unpleasant places of the world for these ingredients. Dally and one of them shall claim the prize while you're out. I'll be off. So, there's one more thing that we want to do in Dearth, and that is talk to this guy who said, hey, come over here. A tall, hooded man stares at you. Yes, you look like a promising warrior indeed. I have an offer, elf. You see, I'm an agent for the arena. I look for promising warriors that can provide a good show for our audience. Perhaps you are strong enough to join. All you'll need to do is beat 3 of my men in battle, and you shall be rewarded. Also, I talk in, weirdly poetry stanza verse for some reason. You consider the offer of the mysterious hooded man for a moment. I am strong. What do you need to offer? What do you have to offer? Or I don't accept deals from shady hooded men, which I feel is smarter, but metagaming says let's take A. You can feel the man smiling from inside his hood. I have wealth and glory to offer, and some very useful combat experience from fighting our men. What do you think? Are you up to it? I'm ready for battle. Let's go. So this you have to do before a certain level. I think it's 12 this cuts off at. But we're 8, so we can do it now. The man smiles in approval. Excellent. A great fighter is always willing to head into battle. You certainly won't regret meeting us indeed. So, are you ready to fight? Sounds like fun. I'm ready. The man quietly walks away after making you a gesture to follow him. So, here we are in the arena. Defeat all 3 enemies. So the first one, it's always the same 3 enemies. The first one is this halfling slinger, and you'll see we can't charge up to him. We could move an infusion up to him, but I think if we move around this way, we can kind of navigate these pillars to get into charge range. Almost. Oh, that was not good. Okay, so we might have to movement infusion. There we go. And then stun. I can't hit him from over there, can I? But I think... Wow, this guy's really fast. He was stunned for all of that. There we go. Okay, the second one spawns immediately, so now we've got this warrior guy. And we are dazed, which means that we can't move. And we have all damage done, but damage removes this effect. So I will just attack and wait until the daze comes off from damage. I'm going to turn on my racial here to start the heal rolling. Let's hit that guy with the Shattering Blow to reduce his armor. He's over there now for some reason, but he's also slow, it seems like. Okay, we are now stunned, so we will turn that off with the Wild Infusion. There we go, and the last one is this Arcane Blade. So, I'm actually going to try to start with sleeping this guy. Oh, he is sleeping. Okay, so we can get into range here. He has Insomnia now, which means that for 3 turns he can't be slept again, but we're not going to be able to sleep him again for a little while anyways. So I'm going to start with now confusing him, and then we'll turn on our Berserker Wrath thing, and we'll just put all of our high damage abilities into him. But not our AoEs, because that doesn't give us a very good rate of return on the stamina. Okay, so we beat the last one. The Karnak Rogue comes back from the shadows. Karnak is like the default human. Well done, Elf. I knew you had potential. The Rogue takes off his hood, showing a fairly young but unmistakably battle-hardened man. The name's Reg. I worked for the arena to recruit great fighters who can give a good show and not die in 2 blows. You are one of those indeed. I won't keep you away from your adventures. I was there too, long ago. But we can make you a true champion, beloved by many, and battling and bathing in diamonds. As you travel back to Dirth in company of the Rogue, you discuss your battles in the forest. He provides you with a great insight on your combat techniques, so we get +2 generic points. Very well. I-ring, it was, right. I must go now. Good luck in your adventures. Come visit us when you are done. So this actually unlocks an arena mode in this game. So that was already unlocked for me, but it shows you the unlock anyways. So that's nifty. Mage Staff, don't need. You can't get out through here. You have to take the portal that spawns after we win. So it's just an arena mode, which is like horde mode for this game, basically. You can just build a character to run through that specifically. This bird definitely reminds me of the days of Baldur's Gate 1 when occasionally a majestic eagle would like fly sideways across the screen. I don't think it was supposed to do that, but it definitely happened. Alright, so we've got these generic points that we can spend now. What do we want to put them in? So we can get another point into this. So this will give us some pretty good condition recovery. I think I might actually like putting a few points into Gift of the Woods, though, because this will give us a really good... So, for one, this takes 14 seconds off of our cooldown, and then it also increases the healing mod bonus from 10 to 23%. So that's quite good. So I think I'm going to do that. We want to put a point into here, so that we can go the rest of the way up here to get disease immunity and blight resistance, and then resist all. The disease immunity and blight resistance become really important at certain points in the game, and then of course resist all is fantastic. And this one actually lets us summon treants, which is really cool, and they inherit some of our stats, which is also nice. But yeah, I think for now we're going to go with the Gift of the Wild Woods. Is that what it's called? Gift of the Woods. Okay, so now we can head off and do another starting dungeon. So I think I'm going to do... Corpole is the second level for humans, but it's actually often done before some of the first level stuff. Let's see. So we can do the Scintillating Caves now. There's another town here I'm not going to run through right now because it's getting a little late. But let's do the Scintillating Caves. So you'll see a very different palette here from the previous ones, and the enemies are very different as well. And this is somewhere where having charge is great because they're all immobile and ranged. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the enemies here are. Alright, so we are currently on fire. This guy shot us with a fire thing, but we just, charge up to him and kill him in one hit. No big deal. Got some giant crystal mouses here. So this is a research journal of someone coming through the caves and investigating how this is... So this is where the Spellblaze began. And there's a Share Tool far portal here, and the Share Tool are really cool, and you will learn more about them later in the game. I know I've said this before, but I love the lore in this game. It's so cool. It's mostly incidental to what's going on, but sometimes that's the best kind of lore, Okay, so this guy just shot me. You can hear that sound effect. So there's a projectile there. It says projectile ice bolt underneath the white crystal. But it's a very slow projectile, so we can actually just sidestep it. Ooh, that guy shoots Blight. These guys shoot fast, but their projectiles are very slow, so they are not hard to close in on, even without movement abilities. I like the color palette they have in here. And of course, you've noticed by now... Oops, I keep hitting the wrong button there. I used to have charge bound to minus, but then I changed it to being 0, so I am, as you can see, mistaking my buttons quite frequently. What's the item I just picked up? Stabilizing Copper Amulet of Dexterity. To see that when things shoot you from a ways away, you can sometimes get out of the way before they hit you, which is quite nice. Not always, though. A lot of the projectiles move too fast, or the timing of your turn versus their turn just doesn't line up in a way that is conducive to you not being hit. Yep, there we go. Generic Copper Amulet. And here we have a... Ooh, this is a sandworm. You don't usually see those in here. Alright. Next level. Yeah, none of this is terribly useful for us, so we'll transmog all that. How much money do we have now? Where does it show your money? Is it here? I don't even remember. I thought it was up here, but clearly I'm wrong about that. Oops. Yeah, snakes often walk at odd angles in this game. Here's the second part of the research journal. And it can kind of screw you up when you're just, expecting them to do something normal. So there we used our Death Dance, which you can see we did a big AoE there. Killed the guys that were even a couple spaces away from us. Alright, so that guy just did a water thing, which pushes us away unless we make a physical save, so that's a cool ability. It also makes us wet, which can combo with some other abilities. Dodge that blight shot. Oop. Dodge that blight shot. I think I'm actually gonna movement infusion up to this thing. There we go. Ooh, AoE, there we go. Heal. Okay, so this... You'll see that this portrait is kind of like reddish purple. So this is a rare enemy. And rare enemies always have at least one always have at least one character class on them. And you can check what they have here. So this actually has Steam Tech. So this is one of the orc steampunk expansion classes stapled onto this snake. And you could hear it shooting its steam guns at me there. I'm gonna turn on my Berserker Rage, and then confuse this guy, and then stun, because these guys can do a ton of damage. Third part of the research journal, where this person has discovered a new element called Blight, which we've seen those crimson crystals are shooting Blight bolts at us. That's something that makes kind of like the squick sound when it attacks. Alright, please stand still. There we go. Oh. Incoming projectile. Taking a lot of damage here, so I'm actually going to movement invasion and then stunning blow that guy. Just to make sure nothing bad happens to us. We got the Cup Ring of Tenacity there. So, disarm, pinning, knockback immunity, and plus 22 max life, which max life stuff is great at this level when your life totals are pretty low. I mean, we're at 370 now, because we're Berserkers, or, not Berserker, oh yeah, a Berserker, which has good life. The race that we picked has a good life total. And then, also, we're just putting a lot into Constitution. But, yeah, always good to have a big buffer of extra life early in this game, especially when you can't have more specialized stats like damage resistance and stuff, or at least you can't very easily get much of it. Okay, so here's another rare monster. So this one is a rogue. It's got trap talents and some stealth talents and dual wielding, because, you know, dual wielding stealthy bears. What could be scarier than that? Oh, we just got disarmed. Okay, so let's try to move away until that... I guess that is a physical condition. We could cure it with our infusion, but in case we could get stunned by this guy, which I didn't take a close enough look to see if we could or not, I would rather save that. Okay, so this gives us hate when firing critical mine attacks. That is totally irrelevant because our class doesn't have mine attacks and doesn't use hate as a resource. So, not too useful there. In fact, that part would do nothing for us. These guys are really nasty, so I'm going to hit Control 2, go into bullet time, basically. There we go. And the cooldown on the movement infusion is pretty short. This one was, what, 16 seconds? It's about as short as I think they ever got. Yeah, nothing else there that we want. Alright, if I could sleep the crystals. Doesn't seem like you should be able to put a crystal to sleep, but... Alright, let's do this again. Let's see how that works. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Okay, so let's be a little more careful and methodical here. Try to get out of that water tidal wave thing. So there's a Spellblaze Scar. So these little things on the ground... Oh, sorry, Firehaven. I thought it was a Spellblaze Scar. So these things give you different abilities when you step in them. So this one is 40% fire damage affinity, but minus 15% blight resistance. So not too relevant to us. But some of them do things like give you heal mod, or like make anyone in them easier to hit, or things like that. So those can be good to keep an eye on. So there's another blight focused crystal. Fourth part of the research journal, and this is a non-plot one. So the memories of Artelia the Firstborn. The scroll looks ancient, possibly going back millennia, but it's been incredibly well preserved. I don't think I've seen this one before. Oh no, is this one of the elven things? I don't know. That's really cool. I'll have to read it later when I'm not on stream. I feel like I must have seen basically all of the lore in this game because I've been through it so many times, but there's probably still some pieces I haven't found yet because there are a lot of them. So let's do an AoE here. Hit everyone pretty good. Research Journal Part 5. Okay, so here is the boss, the Spellblaze Crystal. So this is like a living, quote-unquote, like animated at least, remnant of the devastation of the Spellblaze. And we're gonna kill it. That is a very, very slow attack you have there, friend. Ah, wow. That thing is throwing out a lot of abilities at us. There we go. Level up. Okay, so we'll just rest until all this stuff falls off of us. We found the Summertide file, which is an interesting light source. Uses 30% light resistance and changes 10% of our damage to light, while also giving us an AoE light damage on our attacks. Plus 10 healing mod as well. And then it can dispel magical darkness, or, well, any type of darkness, but also magical darkness, which is harder. So I'm going to move this to our normal inventory. I want to have this extra 40 hit points and healing mod on for right now, but this one is pretty good, especially because there are some notoriously annoying and powerful... Oh, here's our gold, 99.12. Notoriously powerful and tough light-based enemies that, while converting our own damage to light will be bad, getting 30% resistance against their damage will be really good. Okay, so what do we want next, do you think? I think I'll probably just go with another point into Weapon Mastery, just got our damage up really, really high. At some point it starts capping your investment into some things. It's not like you can't put any more in immediately, but it'll say like you have to gain another level. I think you can get 2... Like, once you hit the cap, every level you'll be able to put 2 more points into that stat. Then there's a hard cap where you stop being able to do that, too. Oh, yeah. Let's put a point into this so that we can really get that damage shield destruction up, along with extra damage and reducing their armor, both of which are also great, of course. Okay, and we have cleared out this area. Teleportation runes are a long distance, randomly in a range of 31 with minimum range of 15. So, if you need to escape post-haste and get to as far away as possible, they're really good. Okay, so we might actually want these because plus 25% movement speed is going to be really good for us. I'm going to swap those on. Alright, and I'm gonna call it soon, but before then, now that we've done a bunch of the starting zones, let's head back. Once you get to a certain level, there's a shortcut that lets you wait. Oh, right, okay, we started at the third spot. There's a shortcut that lets you just skip to the end of the level 1 dungeons if you enter them at too high a level. And that's what that was. Okay, so we're going to open this. We're going to let everyone that wants to come at us. Okay, and here is Bill the Stone Troll. Being a little cheeky with the name there, obviously. So we're going to let him come to us where we're in this choke point. Actually, we should have done War Shout at him there. We're going to turn on our Berserker Rage. We're going to Confusion him. Stun him, because Confusion doesn't guarantee that he will attack someone else or move away from us. But yeah, at this level, we're doing pretty good here. Even with our self-damage, we're putting a lot of damage onto him. Let's do this while we have our heal mod on from our racial, and there we go. We got to level 10, got an achievement. Again, I've already gotten that achievement many times, it's just that it also gives it to you every time. It gives you a notification whenever you achieve it. This is a big, nasty-looking tree trunk that Bill the Troll uses as a weapon. I can still serve this purpose should you be strong enough to wield it. So let's start by clearing this place out. Another sandworm. What are these sandworms doing out here? I don't understand. So we get a bunch of stuff here. So Iron Plate of Lightning Resistance, not super great for us. Iron Dagger, not really going to do anything. Then a bunch of gems, which we can just sell. And level up. Alright, so we hit level 10 here. And at multiples of 10, we actually get 2 class points. Also, we get no generic points, but we get a category point. So we can open up one of these trees if we want to. So this one has to do with let's see, this one... This is a stance. This lets us improve damage reduction. This pulls people into range of us. And this gives us extra damage. And then this one, War Cries, so like debuffs and buffs to ourselves. Bloodthirst has all to do with bleeding effects, and this tree looks really cool, so I probably want to do that. And then Dirty Fighting is actually one that's a cunning tree, so it'd be hard for us to do it, and we also have a lower multiplier on it. But it has some good like debuffs and debilitation abilities, along with just some good damage. It's usually found on rogues, so interesting to see it here. We can also... So you can put a category point into a thing that you already have, and that increases the multiplier by 0.2. That's only useful in really specific cases, usually. So we can go from like 1.0 to 1.2, or we could put a thing into one of these to unlock it, and then be able to put points into it like this. But what I really want to do is put the point into inscriptions, because getting an extra inscription slot is so good. So we can learn 2 new inscription slots. We're going to unlock 1, go up to 4 of 5 with this category point. Awesome. So now if we get that Heroism Infusion or something, we can throw that on here and then have a backup, 300-something scaling hit points. Oh, and we have enough Constitution for this now. So enemies are intimidated. This is a sustain, costs 20 stamina, so our max stamina go from 154 to 134. Enemies are intimidated by your very presence. Enemies within radius 6 have their physical power, mind power, and spell power reduced by 10. The power of the intimidation effect improves with your physical power. So that means, so the power means that they're worse at inflicting statuses on us and also deal less damage. So this is probably pretty worth putting a point or 2 into. We're level 10, this isn't until level 16. Yeah, let's put a point into here. Oh, that's right, we don't get generic points from this level. No, I was just talking about that. Since we're not opening any of these up, we're just going to keep focusing on what we're doing right now. And I think... Let's put both of our points into this, actually, because I forgot that this unlocks the bleed for an additional 85% of the damage dealt by this already 202% damage attack. So we're letting them bleed for like 1.5 times our base damage already. And then, yeah, this one, we went from 35 to 70, but then to remove the shield. But then it drops off precipitously there. So we got most of what we want to get out of the first 2 points. And then this will let us do a automatic crit that does extra weapon damage based on how much the victim is missing. This will let us gain stamina per turn and movement and attack speed, but only usable when we're at low stamina, so that's really cool. Especially because this is a really good stamina dump. And then these... and Blinding Speed is actually very good if you can sustain it. It costs a lot. Actually, did they change this? Possibly. And then, yeah, we looked through this and it didn't look great. So we're just going to focus on our big smashy abilities for right now. We're actually pretty close to being able to put another point into Thick Skin, so I'm going to put 2 into Constitution here, 1 into Strength, and I can do the same thing next level and put our generic point into here, although I guess we might want to do this one, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Don't have to make a decision right now, and we can always unspec a few of our things too if we want. Alright, we wanted to, ooh, so Grounding Helm of Strength, that's quite good for us, because this is just a normal cap of strength. And lightning resistance will be very important for a later dungeon, which we will see. So let's give us some resistances. We don't have the talents for it yet. Actually, the lightning resistance on this would also be nice. So we get it for free here. I'm going to put this in our normal inventory, see if we can use it by the time we get to where we want to use that. This is a trinket that lets us reduce all damage taken by 25 for 5 turns. That's pretty nice. I'll put that in our inventory too. Bill's Tree Trunk. So, this deals a lot of damage. Lower crit chance, you don't get the fire damage. But it gives us Shattering Blow, which we can use costing power instead of stamina. So this hits them for 130% of our damage. And then if it hits the target's armor and saves are reduced by 14. So this is the same level as the version that we have right now, but it would be a separate cooldown and it doesn't cost stamina. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on there. So now we are fighting with a giant tree trunk. This takes, how much strength? 25 strength, so we have plenty of strength to use it. That's right, I forgot that we have an offset of weapons too. That's cool. So we have claimed Bill's tree trunk and now are just walking around beating people up with our tree trunk. Cool. Should we take one more quick gander just to show off our tree trunk? We could do the Ruins of Corpul. That wouldn't be too hard at this point. We got an Allied Kingdoms patrol here. That's the humans and halflings for the most part are the Allied Kingdoms. We've got the Daikara. This says minimum level 7. Enter the tunnels. We can do this before I go to bed. You find a hidden trap door and hear cries for help from within. I thought this was a different thing that spawned, and that's why I had that look of amazement, because I thought it was a terrible, terrible thing, but I think that this is just a okay terrible thing. So let's enter the tunnels. Okay, good. This is just the normal terrible thing. So we are trapped in here. We cannot get out unless we use our wand, then we can never get back in. So this is the Unknown Tunnels level 1. This is a dungeon that will spawn. I think it's at level 8. This has a chance of showing up as you're walking around. And there are lots and lots of really terrible, terrible enemies, most of which are rogues, and they will mess you up. But if you're careful and smart, it's usually not too bad. Also, I like the music for it. Alright, so we got some special shots and a totem of healing power. Heals you and all friendly characters within 10 spaces for 60. Oh, that's actually nice, because you can heal escorts with it, so maybe that's actually worth holding on to. Since we have so much strength, our encumbrance number is huge. You saw that guy just went invisible there because we have like kind of a perception ability, and that's going to be contested with the rogues with their stealth. So they will kind of flicker in and out of sight. I'm using a lot of auto-exploit here, and that's a terrible idea because this place is actually pretty dangerous. Oh, well, that went pretty well. So let's be a little more deliberate with our exploration here. I really like the scripts that this game uses for map generation. It leads to really interesting and varied maps. Okay, this guy is being... Oh, we're disarmed right now. Okay, there we go. Now we got our weapon back. Disarm just as a timed debuff. So after X number of turns, you get your weapon back. That just knocked our tree trunk out of our hands, man. That is hardcore. Dude, this guy's pretty tough. There we go. How much damage does this one do? 202% plus bleed damage. Okay, since we just found a trap, but I'm not seeing one. Maybe we actually walked over it? there's the way down to the next level. Okay, I think we've fully explored this level now. Alright. So look, there's only one person here. But not really, because they're all going to be coming in and out of view. So, here we have a merchant. Please save me. I will make it worth your what? The assassin lord hits him in the face. Shut up! Sorry, I have to go. This game has some beautiful dialogue, man. So, before you stands a menacing man clothed in black. Ah, the intruder at last. And what shall we do with you? Why did you kill my men? I heard some cries, and your men, they were in my way. What's going on here? There might be some treasure we had around here. Sorry, I have to go. I'm gonna go with A. Oh, so this is the part where I tell you my plan before you attack me? Get the intruder! Wait, maybe we can work out some kind of arrangement. It needs to be a practical man. So this actually unlocks a tree for... it's like a poison tree. But I'm not going to be poisoning. I am a berserker, so we're going to attack. Alright, so... First thing I want to do, actually, is get out of the middle of this room. Oh boy, that was not where I wanted to go. Jeez. So we just got dazed. So let's... I can't get all of these guys at once, but let's try to confuse those guys. Turn on this, and this, probably this. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, we are probably dead here. We can turn off that debuff. I don't know how we got knocked out of our movement infusion there. But yeah, it looks like our run has probably come to an end because we are poisoned. We are infusion saturated. We can try to sleep everyone. This can't sleep us because we're already asleep. Boy, I really wish we had that heroism infusion right now, huh? Boy, I've never had this much trouble with this fight before. It was the part where we got knocked out of our movement infusion. I mean, we didn't really get knocked out of it, but we started getting hit while trying to reposition with it, and then ended up running out of it. So, I don't think there's anything we can do here. I guess I'll use this ability. Yep, there we go. You have died. Death in Tales of Maj'Eyal is usually permanent, but if you have means of resurrection, it will be proposed in the menu below. We do not. You can dump your character to a data file to remember him, her forever, or you can exit and try once again to survive in the wilds. So, let's do a character dump. There we go. Iring, we hardly knew ye. Died in the 46th of dusk after 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 37 seconds. Killed 292 creatures. And there we go. So, that was a nice 2-hour run. I actually almost never die in there. I'm amazed that that was so hard, but I wonder if maybe I usually find that place when I'm higher level, because the guys in that room were like level 14 and we were level 10, and there were lots of them at a boss, so it's probably just that we ended up there at a bad level. It was not my intention to find that spot for sure. But also that shopkeeper, if you rescue the shopkeeper, he ends up opening up a really, really nice shop with lots of cool stuff. So it is in your interests to try to get that to work. And that's part of roguelikes too, is you kind of have to take a certain number of risks in the permadeath games. Because if you take no risks, you end up with a character that often can't survive the late game. So like our odds of surviving the late game are much better if we take a couple risks. And then hopefully that is worth the, if we die, then we die and we start over early, and then it's better to take the risks and then not get to the late game and find that we can't do anything. So, well, this looks interesting. Moderate and generous levels. Oh, you can. Oh, no, you can't. I could scroll this, but it was just resetting. So anyway, that's gonna do it for tonight. I love ToME. I love this game so much. Like I said, I've put over 400 hours. I put 450 and change at this point into ToME. And I just love it. It's such a great job of taking what's awesome about old hardcore roguelikes and turning it into a format that just gels better with modern expectations, like of convenience and of like reductions of tedium and presentation, things like that. Obviously, it still looks very dated. The pixel graphics and stuff like that are not amazing. Not amazing is very generous. But it's great. I just love this game so much. It's so much fun. And there's tons. The classes are amazing, and they all play so differently, and they're all incredibly unique. Like, there are classes that we were playing one of the most boring classes in the game. It's like the berserker that gets up in people's faces and hits them really hard. But then there are ones that there are the ones that I mentioned before that are like time lords, and the more abilities they use, the more paradox they build up, and the paradox makes them more powerful, but it also means that they're going to cause these temporal anomalies that can be really good or really bad. And there are some that are there are summoners, and there are possessors that take control of their opponent's bodies, and there are solipsists that believe so hard that they're the only thing that is real, that they influence the world around them just by thinking about it. And there are arcane warrior classes, which are pretty generic, but they do cool things. And there's different kinds of mages, and necromancers and archmages, and all different kinds of elemental trees, and tons of different races. And I just go on forever about how cool they are. For those of you who are looking for class recommendations, I love the time-based ones, and I love the mental-based ones. Those are my favorite classes by a long shot in this game. But yeah, so the classes are awesome, the gameplay is awesome, the world building is awesome. There is no plot whatsoever to this game. So if that's what you're in for, the characters are just paper thin. They hardly even exist. The story itself is pretty much non-existent, but the world is really, really cool, and that helps a lot because you learn more and more incidentally about the world and its history and things like that by playing the game and reading the notes, which I highly recommend you read the notes as you play through it. So I will probably be doing some more ToME in the future, obviously not with Iring or whatever her name was. She was so important to me that I can't even remember her name any longer, but not with her, of course, because she is dead. But with other classes, other characters, other races, all that stuff, and maybe even playing some of the expansion content, which most of the expansions are just additions to the base game, but one of them is a completely separate campaign, where you kind of play the other side of this conflict. So, and you play the other side of this conflict after this conflict has taken place. And it's really cool. It's really good. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about ToME. If you're interested in roguelikes, if you love roguelikes or you just feel like you want to check out the more hardcore old school type, absolutely check out ToME. It's free. It's tons of fun. It's very streamlined. It's great. Check it out right now. It's on Steam. You can get it on Steam or off Steam, whatever you want. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it now because I can talk all day about how much I love this game. But anyways, this has been Ben with the Tiger's Den. Thank you so much for joining us. Always such a pleasure doing these streams for you guys. We'll be bringing you more in the future. Like I said, walking back the Magic the Gathering a little bit right now since Standard is just super bad, but it is what it is. We'll still do Magic, and I'll keep doing Magic videos, just less Standard play. So anyways, thanks for joining. Let us know what you thought in the comments if you want to see more games like this, or what other games you would like to see, what you would like to see from this game, if you have any classes or builds you want me to try out. I've unlocked almost everything in this game except for the last couple of expansions. There's 1 or 2 classes that I don't have yet. So pretty much everything's on the docket for that. But yeah, give it a like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Take care. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.